Chapter 11: The Tenuous Truce and New Horizons. In the aftermath of the demonstration for the Scythians, the Alliance members waited with bated breath for Draz's response. Tension still lingered in the air, but there was also a glimmer of hope that the Scythians might see the value in peaceful coexistence and collaboration. On Earth, Ben gathered with the representatives of the Norgons, Creelans, and Vorgons to discuss contingency plans. "We can't just sit around and wait," Ben said, his expression serious. "We need to be prepared for all possibilities, whether the Scythians accept our offer or not." The Vorgon commander, Grath, nodded. "Agreed. We should continue to strengthen our military defenses. Even if the Scythians do decide to collaborate, we can't let our guard down." The Norgon scientist, Zor, added, "At the same time, we should also focus on enhancing our diplomatic efforts. If the Scythians do come on board, we need to make sure the transition is smooth and beneficial for all." The Creelan representative, Cree, chirped in, "Our genetic research can also play a crucial role. We can further develop counter-measures, but also look into how our genetic technology can be used to enhance the Scythians' own biological systems, if they're open to it." As the days passed, the Alliance members continued their work. The military-focused Vorgons were busy upgrading their spaceship's weaponry and defenses. They developed a new type of energy shield that could adapt to different types of attacks, whether they were energy-based or physical. The Norgons, true to their word, were working on a comprehensive diplomatic plan. They were studying the Scythians' culture, as much as they could glean from their brief interactions, to better understand their values, motives, and potential areas of interest for collaboration. The Creelans were delving deeper into their genetic research. They had isolated a particular gene sequence that could potentially enhance an organism's cognitive abilities. They hypothesized that this could be used to help the Scythians, if they were willing, to overcome some of the aggressive instincts that seemed to drive their society. On Earth, the educational platform was booming. Students from all four civilizations were engaging in cross-cultural and cross-disciplinary studies. A group of Earth students, inspired by the Norgons' energy technology, were working on a project to develop a more efficient and sustainable energy source for small-scale applications on Earth. One day, the long-awaited message from Draz finally arrived. The Alliance leaders gathered in the main command center on Earth to read it. "Your demonstration was impressive," Draz's message began. "I have decided to offer a temporary truce. We will not attack your alliance for now. However, I am still hesitant about full-scale collaboration. I propose a trial period of limited cooperation. We will share some of our basic technologies, and you will share yours. This will be a test to see if we can truly work together." Ben let out a sigh of relief. This is a start. It's not a full-fledged alliance, but a truce is better than an all-out war. The other leaders agreed. They immediately began to discuss the terms of this limited cooperation. The Alliance decided to share some of their less sensitive technologies, such as basic environmental monitoring devices developed by the Creelans and some of the energy-saving techniques from the Norgons. In return, the Scythians shared their knowledge of a unique type of metal found in their home system. This metal was incredibly strong and lightweight, and could potentially be used in the construction of spaceships and other high-tech equipment. The exchange of technologies began. The Scythians sent a group of their scientists to the Alliance's research centers on Earth, Norgon, and Creelan planets. These scientists were initially met with a mix of caution and hospitality. The Scythian scientists, led by a gruff-looking individual named Thruk, were impressed by the level of cooperation and knowledge sharing within the Alliance. "I've never seen such unity among different species," Thruk said to Ben during a visit to the Earth Research Center. Ben smiled. "That's the beauty of our Alliance. We believe that by working together, we can achieve more than we could alone." As the Scythian scientists started to integrate into the research teams, they brought with them a different perspective. Their approach to problem-solving was more direct and often more aggressive, which initially clashed with the more collaborative and cautious methods of the Alliance members. For example, in a project to develop a new propulsion system for spaceships, the Scythian scientists proposed a high-risk, high-reward approach. They wanted to use a powerful energy source that had the potential to increase the spaceship's speed tenfold, but also carried a significant risk of explosion. The Norgon and Earth scientists on the team were hesitant. "We need to ensure the safety of the crew and the integrity of the spaceship," a Norgon scientist named Ilara said. Thruk scoffed. "You're too cautious. Sometimes, you have to take risks to achieve great things." After much discussion and some intense debates, they found a middle ground. They modified the Scythian proposal to include additional safety measures, such as redundant energy systems and advanced cooling mechanisms. As the weeks passed, the limited cooperation started to bear fruit. The new spaceship propulsion system was successfully developed. It was a significant improvement over the existing systems, allowing for faster travel between the planets of the Alliance and the Scythians' territory. The Scythians, in turn, were starting to see the benefits of working together. Their own scientists were learning new techniques in genetic engineering from the Creelans, and they were adapting some of the Norgon's energy management systems to improve the efficiency of their power plants. However, not all Scythians were happy with this new development. A group of hard-liners within the Scythian society, led by a powerful warlord named Gorg, were against any form of cooperation with the Alliance. Gorg rallied his followers. "We are the Scythians. We are a proud race, not some weaklings who need to rely on others. This cooperation is a sign of our weakness. We should attack the Alliance and take their technologies by force." Gorg's words spread like wildfire among the more aggressive factions of the Scythian society. Draz, who was trying to maintain the truce, was faced with a growing internal threat. He sent a message to Ben and the other Alliance leaders. I'm facing opposition from within my own society. Gorg and his followers are planning to attack. I'm doing everything I can to stop them, but I need your help." Ben and the Alliance leaders were alarmed. They knew that they had to act quickly to prevent a breakdown of the fragile truce. The Vorgons immediately proposed a show of force. "We should send a fleet of our most advanced spaceships to the Scythian border. This will deter Gorg and his followers from launching an attack." The Norgons, however, suggested a more diplomatic approach. "We could try to reach out to Gorg and his followers. Maybe we can show them the benefits of cooperation, just like we did with Draz." The Creelans proposed a combination of both. "We can use our genetic technology to develop a non-lethal weapon that can be used to stop Gorg's forces if they do attack. At the same time, we can send a diplomatic team to try and talk some sense into them." After careful consideration, the Alliance decided to adopt the Creelans' proposal. The Vorgons started to mobilize a fleet of spaceships, but they were ordered to remain on standby at the Scythian border. The Norgons and Creelans formed a diplomatic team. Ben, as a symbol of the Alliance's unity and a trusted figure among the Scythians, decided to join the team. As they approached the Scythian territory, they sent a message to Gorg, asking for a meeting. Gorg, after some hesitation, agreed. When the meeting took place, Ben and the diplomatic team faced Gorg and his followers. Gorg was a large, imposing figure, with a menacing look in his eyes. "Ben of Earth," Gorg growled. "You and your alliance think you can come here and change our ways? We are Scythians, and we will not be tamed." Ben remained calm. "Gorg, we're not here to change your ways. We're here to show you that there's a better way. Our alliance has achieved so much through cooperation. We've developed new technologies, improved our environments, and enhanced our understanding of the universe. You and your followers can be a part of this." Gorg sneered. "What can we gain from this so-called cooperation? We can take what we want by force." The Creelan representative on the team, Cree, stepped forward. "But at what cost? War will only bring destruction. Our genetic technology, for example, could be used to improve the health and well-being of your people. The Norgon's energy technology can provide unlimited power for your planet without harming the environment." The Norgons also chimed in, sharing some of the success stories of the limited cooperation so far. "Look at how our combined efforts have already led to the development of a new spaceship propulsion system. Imagine what we could achieve if we worked together on a larger scale." Gorg listened intently, his expression gradually softening. "I'll consider your words. But know this, if I find any signs of deception, I will not hesitate to attack." With that, the diplomatic team left. Ben and the others knew that they had planted a seed of doubt in Gorg's mind. Now, they had to wait and see if it would grow into an acceptance of the Alliance's offer of cooperation. Back at the Alliance's headquarters, preparations for both peace and war continued. The scientists were working on improving the non-lethal genetic weapon, just in case Gorg decided to attack. The military forces were on high alert, ready to defend the Alliance if necessary. As the days turned into weeks, the situation remained tense. But there was also a glimmer of hope that Gorg and his followers might see the light. Ben and the Alliance leaders knew that the future of the Alliance, and potentially the entire region of space, hung in the balance. And they were determined to do everything in their power to ensure that peace and cooperation would prevail. During this period of uncertainty, the educational platform on Earth continued to thrive. Students from all the civilizations, including some Scythians who were open-minded, were learning from each other. The cultural exchanges were also deepening, with Earth music and art becoming popular among the Scythians, and vice versa. Ben, despite the stress of the situation, found solace in the fact that the Alliance was bringing different civilizations closer together. He hoped that this would be enough to convince Gorg and his followers to abandon their war-like ways and embrace the opportunities that cooperation offered. And as he looked out at the stars, he knew that the next few decisions would be crucial in determining the fate of the Alliance and the relationship between the civilizations in this part of the galaxy. Chapter 12: The Climax of Alliance and Resolution. The days following the meeting with Gorg were filled with a sense of unease. The Alliance members continued their dual-pronged approach of preparing for war and hoping for a peaceful resolution. The non-lethal genetic weapon developed by the Creelans was refined to a point where it could be deployed quickly and effectively if Gorg's forces decided to attack. The educational platform on Earth became an even more important symbol of the potential unity between the civilizations. Scythian students who were open to the idea of cooperation were actively participating in the cross-cultural and scientific exchanges. One Scythian student, a young and curious individual named Zara, was particularly interested in Earth's ancient philosophical teachings. Zara approached Ben during one of his visits to the educational center. Ben, your planet's philosophy is so different from what I've known. It makes me think about our own society and the way we approach life. Do you think these ideas could help change Gorg and his followers' minds? Ben smiled at Zara. I believe so, Zara. Philosophy has the power to open minds and change perspectives. If more Scythians like you can understand and spread these ideas, it might just tip the balance in favor of peace. On the Scythian home planet, Draz was also working tirelessly to counter Gorg's influence. He used his position of power to hold public meetings, where he presented the benefits of the limited cooperation with the Alliance. Look at what we've achieved in such a short time, Draz said to a large gathering of Scythians. New technologies, improved living conditions, and a chance to be part of something bigger. Gorg's way of war will only lead to destruction and isolation. However, Gorg was not going to give up easily. He continued to rally his forces, spreading misinformation about the Alliance. The Alliance is weak. They're trying to deceive us. We can take their technology and resources and become the dominant force in the galaxy. As the tension reached its peak, a scouting party of the Alliance, consisting of Vorgan and Norgon spaceships, detected unusual activity near the Scythian border. It seemed that Gorg was preparing to launch an attack. The Alliance leaders were immediately alerted. Ben, Grath, Zor, and Kree gathered in the command center on Earth. "Looks like Gorg is going to make his move," Grath said, his expression grim. "Our fleet is on standby, but we should try one last, ditch diplomatic effort." Zor nodded. "Agreed. We can send another message to Gorg, appealing to his reason one more time." The message was sent, urging Gorg to halt his aggressive actions and consider the benefits of cooperation. But Gorg's response was swift and defiant. "I will not be swayed. Prepare for war." With no other option left, the Alliance activated its defenses. The Vorgan fleet, positioned at the border, powered up their energy shields and weapons. The Creelans readied their non-lethal genetic weapon, which was designed to disrupt the Scythian spaceship systems and render their weapons useless. As Gorg's fleet of spaceships approached the Alliance's territory, the atmosphere was charged with tension. The Scythian ships, large and menacing, were equipped with powerful energy cannons. The Vorgan commander gave the order, "Hold your positions until they fire the first shot. We don't want to be the aggressors." The Scythian ships came closer, and then, without warning, one of Gorg's ships fired a powerful energy blast at the Vorgan fleet. The blast hit the energy shield of a Vorgan spaceship, causing it to flicker. "Return fire!" the Vorgan commander shouted. The Vorgan ships unleashed a volley of energy beams at the Scythian fleet. The Norgon ships, which were also part of the defensive line, used their advanced energy manipulation technology to disrupt the Scythian ships' targeting systems. The Creelans launched their non-lethal genetic weapon. Small, drone-like devices were sent towards the Scythian ships. These devices released a cloud of genetically engineered organisms that started to infiltrate the Scythian ships' systems. As the organisms made contact with the Scythian technology, they began to break down key components. The energy cannons on some of the Scythian ships started to malfunction, and their navigation systems went haywire. Gorg, realizing that the situation was not going as planned, was enraged. "Increase the firepower. We will not be defeated by these weaklings." But the Alliance's defenses were holding strong. The Scythian ships were taking heavy damage, and their numbers were starting to dwindle. In the midst of the battle, Zara, the Scythian student who had been inspired by Earth's philosophy, decided to take matters into her own hands. She gathered a group of like-minded Scythians and they made their way to Gorg's main command ship. Zara and her group managed to board the ship unnoticed. They made their way to the command center, where they found Gorg barking orders at his subordinates. "Gorg!" Zara shouted. "This is madness. Look at what you're doing to our people. There's a better way." Gorg turned to face Zara, his eyes filled with anger. "You traitor! How dare you oppose me? Zara stood her ground. I'm not a traitor. I'm trying to save our people from destruction. The Alliance has shown us that we can achieve so much through cooperation. This war will only lead to our downfall. The other Scythians with Zara nodded in agreement. She's right, Gorg. We don't want to fight a war we can't win. Gorg was about to order his guards to arrest Zara and her group when a message came in from one of his ships. Sir, our weapons are failing. We can't continue the attack. Gorg realized that the situation was becoming hopeless. With a look of defeat, he ordered his fleet to retreat. The Alliance, seeing the Scythian ships pulling back, held their fire. They were relieved that the battle had ended, but they knew that the situation was still fragile. Zara and her group, still on Gorg's command ship, continued to plead with him. Gorg, it's not too late. We can still join the Alliance and build a better future for all Scythians. Gorg, his pride bruised but his rational mind starting to take over, finally relented. Fine. I will consider your proposal. But I will need to see more evidence of the Alliance's good intentions. Zara immediately sent a message to Ben, informing him of the situation. Ben and the Alliance leaders were overjoyed. They knew that this was a turning point. The Alliance quickly organized a second demonstration for Gorg and his followers. This time, they focused on the long-term benefits of cooperation, such as the potential for scientific breakthroughs, cultural enrichment, and economic growth. Gorg and a group of his key followers attended the demonstration. They were shown the latest advancements in genetic engineering, energy technology, and space exploration that the Alliance had achieved through collaboration. After the demonstration, Gorg was finally convinced. I was wrong. Your Alliance has shown me that there is a better way. I am willing to join and work towards a peaceful and prosperous future for all our civilizations. The news spread throughout the Alliance and the Scythian society. The once warring factions were now on the path to unity. The Alliance celebrated this victory, not just over Gorg's aggression, but over the forces of division and hostility. The educational platform became even more important, as it was now the place where Scythians, along with the other Alliance members, could learn from each other and build a common understanding. The cultural exchanges flourished, with Scythian art, music, and literature becoming an integral part of the Alliance's cultural tapestry. The Alliance, now stronger than ever, started to plan for new joint projects. One of the most ambitious projects was the construction of a massive space station at the center of the Alliance's territory. This space station would serve as a hub for scientific research, trade, and cultural exchange between the civilizations. Ben, looking at the bright future ahead, was filled with a deep sense of satisfaction. We've come a long way. From the initial encounter with the Khorans to this moment of unity with the Scythians, our journey has been filled with challenges, but also with great rewards. The other Alliance leaders nodded in agreement. They knew that the road ahead would still have its share of obstacles, but they were confident that with unity, cooperation, and a shared vision, they could overcome any challenge that the universe threw at them. As the construction of the space station began, the Alliance members worked together with enthusiasm. The Vorgans provided their expertise in large-scale engineering, the Norgons contributed their knowledge of advanced energy systems for the station's power supply, the Creelans used their genetic technology to develop self-sustaining ecosystems within the station, and the Earthlings brought their creativity and cultural diversity to the design of the living and recreational areas. The Alliance had not only survived the threat of war but had emerged stronger and more united. The story of their journey was now being told across the galaxy, inspiring other civilizations to consider the power of cooperation and the futility of conflict. And as the stars twinkled above the construction site of the new space station, the Alliance looked forward to a future filled with endless possibilities for exploration, discovery, and mutual growth. Chapter 13: The Galactic Beacon of Unity. The construction of the massive space station, aptly named Unity Nexus, was a testament to the new-found unity and collaborative spirit of the Alliance. The station was designed to be a multi-functional hub, a place where the diverse knowledge, cultures, and technologies of the Earth, Norgon, Creelan, Scythian Alliance could converge and flourish. The Vorgans, with their expertise in large-scale engineering, took the lead in the structural construction of the station. They designed a complex framework using the strong and lightweight metal provided by the Scythians, ensuring that the station could withstand the harsh conditions of space. The outer shell of the station was a marvel of engineering, with layers of advanced shielding to protect against cosmic radiation and micrometeoroids. The Norgons, on the other hand, were responsible for the energy systems of Unity Nexus. They installed a series of space-time energy harnessing devices, which would provide a clean and abundant source of power for the entire station. These devices were not only highly efficient but also had the ability to adapt to different energy requirements, whether it was for powering the research laboratories, the living quarters, or the transportation systems within the station. The Creelans were focused on creating self-sustaining ecosystems inside the station. Using their genetic technology, they developed special plant species that could thrive in the artificial environment of the space station. These plants not only provided fresh oxygen but also served as a source of food. The Creelans also engineered small, bio-mechanical organisms that could assist in maintaining the ecological balance, such as cleaning the air and recycling waste. Earthlings, with their rich cultural heritage and creative minds, were in charge of designing the living and recreational areas of the station. The corridors and common areas were adorned with artworks from all the Alliance civilizations, creating a vibrant and harmonious atmosphere. The living quarters were designed to be comfortable and adaptable, taking into account the different physiological needs of the various species. As the construction of Unity Nexus progressed, it attracted the attention of other civilizations in the galaxy. A small, peaceful civilization known as the Luminans sent a message to the Alliance, expressing their interest in joining. The Luminans were a unique species. They were small, about half the size of an average human, and their bodies emitted a soft, glowing light. Their civilization was based on a deep-seated connection with nature and a strong emphasis on spiritual growth. The Alliance leaders, Ben, Draz, Zor, Kree, and Grath, gathered to discuss the Luminans' request. From what we can tell, the Luminans seem to have a lot to offer, Ben said, looking at the data on the Luminans' culture and technology. They have a unique understanding of energy manipulation at a more spiritual level, which could complement our existing knowledge. Draz, the Scythian leader who had now fully embraced the Alliance, nodded. We could use their perspective. After all, our Alliance is about bringing different ideas together. Zor, the Norgon scientist, added, their technology could also help us in areas such as mental health and well-being. They have developed ways to use light-based energy to heal psychological and physical ailments. The Alliance decided to invite the Luminans for a visit to Unity Nexus. The Luminans, excited by the invitation, sent a delegation of their representatives. When the Luminans arrived at Unity Nexus, they were greeted with warmth and hospitality. They were given a tour of the construction site, and they were amazed by the scale and complexity of the project. This is truly a remarkable endeavor, a Luminan named Alara said. We can see the unity and cooperation among your civilizations, and we would be honored to be a part of it. The Alliance leaders then engaged in in-depth discussions with the Luminans. They shared their vision for the future of the Alliance, which included further scientific exploration, cultural exchange, and the establishment of a more peaceful and prosperous galaxy. The Luminans, in turn, shared their knowledge of spiritual energy manipulation. They demonstrated how they could use the light emitted from their bodies to create a calming and healing effect. The other Alliance members were fascinated. One of the Earth scientists, Dr. Emily, was particularly interested. This could revolutionize our understanding of alternative medicine. We could potentially use this technology to treat a wide range of conditions, both on Earth and across the Alliance. As the discussions continued, the Alliance and the Luminans identified several areas of potential collaboration. The Luminans agreed to share their knowledge of spiritual energy in exchange for learning about the more technological aspects of the Alliance, such as spaceship engineering and advanced genetic research. With the decision made, the Luminans officially joined the Alliance. The news spread throughout the galaxy, further enhancing the Alliance's reputation as a beacon of unity and cooperation. Back at Unity Nexus, the construction was nearing completion. The final touches were being added to the various facilities. The research laboratories were equipped with state-of-the-art equipment from all the civilizations. There were laboratories dedicated to genetic research, energy studies, and space exploration. The Cultural Exchange Center was also taking shape. It was a large, multi-level complex where art exhibitions, music concerts, and cultural festivals from different civilizations could be held. The center was designed to be a place where the unique identities of each civilization could be celebrated and shared. The transportation system within the station was a marvel. It consisted of high-speed shuttles that could quickly move passengers and goods between different parts of the station. The shuttles were powered by a combination of Norgon energy technology and Scythian-designed engines, ensuring smooth and efficient travel. As the grand opening of Unity Nexus approached, the Alliance members were filled with excitement. Ben, as one of the key figures in the Alliance's development, was given the honor of leading the opening ceremony. On the day of the opening, representatives from all the Alliance civilizations gathered in the central plaza of Unity Nexus. The plaza was a large, open airspace with a high-ceilinged dome that allowed the stars to be visible. Ben stepped onto the stage, looking out at the diverse crowd. Today, we mark a new chapter in the history of our alliance. Unity Nexus is not just a space station, it's a symbol of our unity, our shared vision, and our commitment to a better future. The crowd cheered in agreement. Draz, the Scythian leader, then took the stage. We were once on the brink of war, but now we stand together as one. This station will be a place where we can continue to learn from each other, grow together, and face the challenges of the universe as a united front. Zor, the Norgon, added, "The knowledge and technology we've combined here have the potential to change the galaxy. We are no longer limited by our individual capabilities but are empowered by our collective strength." Cree, the Creelan, chirped in, "And let us not forget the cultural exchange. Our different ways of life, our art, our music, all of these will enrich each other and create a new, unique galactic culture." Ilera, the Luminan, then spoke. "We, the Luminans, are honored to be a part of this great alliance. Our spiritual knowledge will add a new dimension to our collective understanding, and we look forward to the spiritual growth that will come from this unity." After the speeches, the official opening ceremony took place. A large, holographic display was activated, showing the vision for Unity Nexus and the future of the Alliance. The display also highlighted the various projects that were already in the pipeline, such as joint space exploration missions, new scientific research initiatives, and cultural exchange programs. As the celebration continued, the Alliance members started to move into their respective areas of the station. Scientists were eager to start their research, artists were preparing for the first cultural exhibitions, and traders were setting up their shops in the marketplace. However, not all was smooth sailing. A small group of individuals from different civilizations, who were still hesitant about the rapid pace of change, started to voice their concerns. They were worried that the unique identities of their civilizations would be lost in the melting pot of the Alliance. One Scythian, a traditionalist named Thrak, said, "We've always been a proud and independent race. I'm worried that by being part of this alliance, we'll lose our Scythian identity." An Earthling, a cultural preservationist named Sarah, echoed similar concerns. "Our cultures are so diverse. How can we ensure that they're not diluted in this new, unified environment?" Ben and the other Alliance leaders were aware of these concerns. They immediately organized a series of town hall style meetings across Unity Nexus to address them. At one of the meetings, Ben said, "Our alliance is not about losing our identities but about celebrating them. Unity Nexus is a place where our differences are not only tolerated but celebrated. We can learn from each other's cultures, and in the process, strengthen our own identities." Zor added, "In fact, the exchange of knowledge and culture will only enhance our understanding of ourselves. For example, the Norgons have learned so much from Earth's art, and it has inspired new forms of expression in our own society." The Luminans also chimed in. "Our spiritual knowledge can be shared, but it will not replace the unique spiritual beliefs of each civilization. Instead, it can offer new perspectives and paths for growth." As the meetings continued, the concerns of the hesitant individuals started to fade. They began to see the value in the alliance and how it could actually enhance their civilization's identities. The days and weeks following the opening of Unity Nexus were filled with activity. The first joint space exploration mission was launched. A team of scientists from all the civilizations, including the Luminans, boarded a state-of-the-art spaceship to explore a nearby star system that was believed to hold valuable resources and potentially new forms of life. The Cultural Exchange Center was bustling with activity. An art exhibition featuring the works of Scythian, Earthling, Norgon, Creelan, and Luminan artists was a huge success. The different art forms, from the Scythians' metal crafted sculptures to the Luminans' light-based art, were on display, attracting a large number of visitors. The marketplace was also thriving. Traders were exchanging goods and services from different civilizations. Earth-made handicrafts were being traded for Norgon developed energy-saving devices, and Creelan engineered plant seeds were being exchanged for Scythian designed tools. Ben, looking at the vibrant and diverse community that had formed on Unity Nexus, was filled with pride. This is what we've been working towards. A place where different civilizations can come together, learn from each other, and build a better future. The Alliance, with Unity Nexus as its centerpiece, was now a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. It continued to attract the attention of other civilizations, and the leaders were already considering how to expand their influence in a peaceful and collaborative way. And as the station hummed with activity, the future of the Alliance looked brighter than ever, filled with endless possibilities for discovery, growth, and the creation of a more harmonious galaxy. Chapter 14: Challenges and Growth in the Galactic Community. The success of Unity Nexus had firmly established the Alliance as a significant presence in the galaxy. The space station was a hive of activity, with new scientific discoveries, cultural exchanges, and trade deals happening on a daily basis. However, as with any large-scale endeavor, challenges were inevitable. One of the major challenges the Alliance faced was the management of resources. With the influx of new projects and the growing population on Unity Nexus, the demand for resources such as energy, raw materials, and food was increasing rapidly. The Norgon, designed energy systems were efficient, but the constant expansion of the station's facilities and the increasing number of spaceships coming and going required more power than initially anticipated. A group of Norgon and Earth scientists, led by Dr. Martin from Earth and Zor from the Norgons, was tasked with finding a solution. "We need to look for alternative energy sources or find a way to increase the efficiency of our existing systems," Dr. Martin said during a meeting. Zor nodded in agreement. "I've been studying some ancient Norgon texts that mention a type of energy field that could potentially be harnessed. It's a complex process, but if we can figure it out, it could solve our energy problems for the long term." The team started researching this new energy field. They built a small-scale experimental device to detect and analyze the energy. Meanwhile, the Alliance also had to deal with the issue of raw materials. The Scythians, who were experts in mining and resource extraction, proposed to explore some nearby asteroid belts that were rich in valuable minerals. Draz, the Scythian leader, presented the plan to the Alliance Council. "These asteroid belts could provide us with the metals and other materials we need for further construction and technological development. We have the ships and the expertise to start mining operations." The council approved the plan, and a Scythian-led mining expedition was soon underway. The Scythians, along with some Vorgan engineers for support, traveled to the asteroid belts. They set up mining facilities and began extracting the minerals. However, the mining operations were not without problems. A group of space pirates, attracted by the valuable resources, started to target the mining ships. These pirates were a ragtag group of different species, united only by their thirst for plunder. The Scythians and Vorgans on the mining site were caught off guard. A pirate ship fired a series of energy blasts at one of the Scythian mining vessels, causing significant damage. "Send a distress signal to Unity Nexus," the Scythian captain shouted. Back at Unity Nexus, the Alliance Council immediately mobilized a defense force. A fleet of Vorgan and Norgon spaceships, equipped with advanced weapons and shields, was sent to the mining site. As the defense force arrived, they engaged the pirates in a fierce battle. The Vorgan ships, with their powerful energy cannons, fired volleys at the pirate vessels. The Norgon ships used their energy manipulation technology to disrupt the pirates' communication and navigation systems. The battle was intense, but the Alliance's superior technology and coordination soon turned the tide. The pirates, realizing they were outmatched, tried to retreat. However, the Alliance ships pursued them, ensuring that they would not be able to return and cause trouble again. After the battle, the mining operations resumed. The Scythians, with the help of the other Alliance members, improved the security of the mining site. They installed advanced sensors to detect approaching ships and set up a perimeter defense system. While the resource-related challenges were being addressed, the cultural exchange on Unity Nexus also faced some difficulties. Despite the initial enthusiasm, there were some misunderstandings and cultural clashes. For example, the Luminans had a deep-seated belief in the sacredness of light. They were disturbed when some Scythian artists used artificial light in a way that they considered disrespectful. The Scythians, on the other hand, were confused by the Luminans' reaction, as they saw it as just another form of artistic expression. Ben, who was involved in mediating such cultural disputes, called a meeting of the cultural representatives from both civilizations. We need to understand that our cultural norms are different, but that doesn't mean one is right or wrong. We should use this as an opportunity to learn from each other. The Luminan representative, Ilera, explained their beliefs. Light is not just a physical phenomenon for us, it's a spiritual essence. When it's used in a way that seems to desecrate its sacredness, it deeply upsets us. The Scythian artist, Thruk, listened intently. I had no idea. I was just trying to create something new and exciting. But now that I understand, I can adjust my work. This incident led to a series of cultural awareness workshops on Unity Nexus. These workshops were designed to educate the Alliance members about the cultural beliefs, norms, and taboos of each civilization. The workshops were well attended, and they helped to prevent further cultural misunderstandings. In the scientific realm, the research on the new energy field by the Norgone Earth team was showing promising results. They had managed to detect the energy field and were now working on a way to harness it. The energy field, if successfully harnessed, could provide an almost limitless supply of clean energy. The first joint space exploration mission, which had been launched from Unity Nexus, also sent back some exciting data. The team had discovered a new planet in the explored star system. This planet had a unique ecosystem, with life forms that were a combination of biological and mechanical elements. The scientists on the mission were eager to study these life forms further. They hypothesized that these organisms could hold the key to new technological advancements, such as developing self-repairing materials or more efficient energy conversion systems. Back on Unity Nexus, preparations were made to send a second, more in-depth exploration team to the newly discovered planet. The team would consist of scientists from all the Alliance civilizations, each bringing their unique perspectives and expertise. The Alliance Council also started to consider the long-term implications of their discoveries. They discussed how to share this knowledge with other civilizations in the galaxy in a way that would promote peace and cooperation. As the Alliance continued to grow and face these challenges, it also attracted more civilizations interested in joining. A water-based civilization known as the Aquarics sent a message expressing their interest. The Aquarics lived in large, floating cities on their water-covered home planet and had advanced knowledge of hydro-technology and underwater life. The Alliance Council, after careful consideration, decided to invite the Aquarics for a preliminary meeting. The Aquarics representatives, who were large, fish-like beings with a high level of intelligence, arrived at Unity Nexus. The Aquarics were impressed by what they saw. "Your alliance is truly remarkable," their leader, Aquara said. We believe that our knowledge of hydro technology could be of great use to you, and we are eager to learn from your other technologies and cultures. The Alliance leaders and the Aquarix representatives engaged in discussions about potential areas of collaboration. The Aquarix could help with developing better water recycling systems on Unity Nexus and in spaceships. In return, they were interested in learning about the Alliance's genetic technology and energy systems. As the discussions continued, it became clear that the Aquarix could be a valuable addition to the Alliance. However, the Alliance also had to consider how to integrate a water-based civilization into their existing framework. They started to design special habitats on Unity Nexus that could accommodate the Aquarix. These habitats would simulate the underwater environment of their home planet, complete with large, pressurized water chambers and advanced life support systems. The Alliance, now on the verge of expanding further, faced the challenge of ensuring a smooth integration of the Aquarix. But they were also excited about the new knowledge and perspectives that the Aquarix would bring. Ben, looking at the ever-evolving Alliance, knew that the challenges were opportunities for growth. We've overcome so much already. And with each new challenge, we become stronger and more united. The addition of the Aquarix could open up new frontiers for us in the galaxy. The Alliance continued to work on addressing the resource issues, promoting cultural understanding, and capitalizing on the scientific discoveries. With the potential addition of the Aquarix, they were on the cusp of a new phase of expansion and development. And as they looked towards the future, they were determined to face whatever challenges came their way, united in their quest for a more advanced, harmonious, and prosperous galaxy. In the meantime, the cultural exchange on Unity Nexus continued to thrive. A music festival was organized, featuring the unique musical styles of all the Alliance civilizations. The Scythians' deep, rhythmic chants, the Norgons' energy-based melodies, the Creelans' chirping and clicking music, the Luminans' light-infused harmonies, and the Earthlings' diverse range of musical genres filled the air. The festival was a huge success, attracting visitors from all over the Alliance. It not only entertained but also brought the different civilizations closer together, highlighting the beauty of their cultural diversity. As the Alliance moved forward, they were constantly reminded that their strength lay in their unity, and that by working together, they could overcome any obstacle and achieve great things in the vast expanse of the galaxy. Chapter 15: Expanding Horizons and Galactic Diplomacy. With the Aquarix on the verge of joining the Alliance, the members of the existing Alliance, Earth, Norgon, Creelan, Scythian, and Luminan, were in a flurry of activity. The construction of the special habitats for the Aquarix on Unity Nexus was in full swing. The Vorgons, known for their engineering prowess, were leading the project, working closely with Aquarix engineers to ensure that the underwater-themed habitats met the specific needs of the water-based civilization. The habitats were designed to be large, self-contained ecosystems. Massive, transparent domes were being built to house the Aquarix. Inside these domes, a complex system of water circulation, temperature control, and lighting was being installed to mimic the natural environment of the Aquarix's home planet. The water was treated with special additives to replicate the unique chemical composition that the Aquarix were accustomed to. As the habitats neared completion, the cultural integration process also accelerated. Cultural exchange programs were organized specifically for the Aquarix and the existing Alliance members. Aquarix representatives gave lectures on their unique culture, which was centered around the vast oceans of their planet. They shared stories of their underwater cities, the unique social structures that had evolved in a water-based environment, and their deep-seated connection to the marine life. In return, the other Alliance members introduced the Aquarix to their own cultures. Earthlings showed them the diversity of human art forms, from paintings and sculptures to digital art. The Norgons demonstrated their energy-based technologies and how they had incorporated art into their energy manipulation techniques. The Creelans shared their genetic-based art, which involved creating living, evolving artworks using genetic engineering. The Scythians displayed their warrior-inspired art and the traditions that had been passed down through generations. And the Luminans shared their spiritual teachings, emphasizing the importance of balance and harmony, which they believed was also reflected in the Aquarix's relationship with their watery world. However, the process of integration was not without its challenges. There were differences in communication styles. The Aquarix communicated through a combination of sonar-like signals and bioluminescent displays. Translating these signals accurately into the common language of the Alliance was a complex task. A team of linguists from all the Alliance civilizations, led by Dr. Emily from Earth, was working around the clock to develop a more efficient translation system. Dr. Emily explained the difficulty. The Aquarix's language is not just a means of communication, it's deeply intertwined with their culture and the physical environment of their planet. We need to understand these nuances to create an accurate translation. Another challenge was the difference in technological priorities. The Aquarix had highly advanced hydro technology but were relatively less developed in some other areas, such as space-based energy systems. The Alliance had to find a way to share knowledge in a way that was beneficial to both sides. The Norgons, for example, were working on simplifying their energy harnessing technology so that the Aquarix could more easily understand and adapt it to their own needs. As the Aquarix integration was being sorted out, the Alliance also received news from the second exploration team that had been sent to the newly discovered planet. The team had made some astonishing discoveries. The planet, which they had named Nova Prime, had a unique form of energy-generating organism. These organisms were like living batteries, capable of storing and releasing vast amounts of energy. The scientists on the team were excited about the potential applications of this discovery. If we can understand how these organisms generate and store energy, we could revolutionize our own energy systems, said a Creelan scientist named Cree. The Alliance Council immediately called for a meeting to discuss the implications of this discovery. They knew that such a powerful energy source could have far-reaching effects, not only for the Alliance but also for the entire galaxy. During the meeting, Draz, the Scythian leader, expressed his concerns. This energy source is incredibly powerful. We need to be cautious. We don't want other civilizations to see us as a threat and try to take it by force. Zor, the Norgon scientist, agreed. We should focus on studying the organisms first. We need to understand their biology, their energy generation process, and how we can use this knowledge without causing harm to the planet's ecosystem. The Council decided to send a larger team of scientists, including experts from all the Alliance civilizations, to Nova Prime. The team would not only continue the study of the energy generating organisms but also develop a plan to harness their energy in a sustainable way. While the scientific community was focused on Nova Prime, the Alliance also had to deal with diplomatic issues on a galactic scale. A powerful and isolationist civilization known as the Zorans had heard about the Alliance's activities, especially the discovery of the potentially powerful energy source on Nova Prime. The Zorans sent a message to the Alliance, demanding a share of the energy generating organisms. Your discovery could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. We demand that you share this resource with us, or we will be forced to take matters into our own hands. The Alliance Council was faced with a difficult decision. They knew that the Zorans were a formidable force, but they also didn't want to give in to their demands without proper negotiation. Ben, as a voice of reason, said, "We can't just give in to their threats. But we also need to avoid a conflict if possible. We should invite them for a diplomatic meeting and try to explain our plans for the sustainable use of this resource." The other council members agreed. They sent a message to the Zorans, inviting them to a meeting on Unity Nexus. The Zorans, after some deliberation, accepted the invitation. When the Zorans arrived at Unity Nexus, they were an imposing sight. They were tall, humanoid, like beings with metallic-looking skin and glowing red eyes. Their leader, Zoran Prime, entered the meeting room with an air of authority. "Alliance members," Zoran Prime said, "your discovery on Nova Prime is a matter of great concern to us. We cannot allow you to monopolize such a powerful resource." Ben stepped forward. "Zoran Prime, we understand your concerns. But our intention is not to monopolize the resource. We want to study it first and find a way to use it in a way that benefits all civilizations in the galaxy." Zor, the Norgon scientist, then presented the Alliance's plan. "We plan to develop a system where the energy generating organisms can be harvested in a sustainable manner. We can share the technology and the energy produced with other civilizations, but we need to ensure that the ecosystem of Nova Prime is not damaged." Zoran Prime listened intently. "Your words sound noble, but how can we be sure that you will keep your promises? Our civilization has been betrayed in the past by those who claim to have good intentions." The Alliance members then proposed a series of safeguards. They suggested the establishment of a galactic oversight committee, consisting of representatives from different civilizations, including the Zorans, to monitor the use of the energy-generating organisms. After hours of intense negotiation, the Zorans finally agreed to the Alliance's proposal. They would be part of the Oversight Committee, and in return, they would support the Alliance's research on Nova Prime and contribute their own scientific knowledge. With the Zoran issue resolved, the Alliance could focus on the integration of the Aquarix and the research on Nova Prime. The Aquarix habitats on Unity Nexus were finally completed. The Aquarix representatives were overjoyed as they entered their new homes for the first time. "These habitats are amazing," Aquara, the Aquarix leader, said. "It feels like we're back on our home planet, yet we're part of this incredible alliance." The integration of the Aquarix into the Alliance was now complete. The Alliance held a grand celebration to mark the occasion. There were cultural performances from all the civilizations, including the Aquarix, who put on a spectacular display of their underwater-inspired dance and music, using bioluminescence and sonar-based rhythms. As the celebration ended, the Alliance members looked towards the future with optimism. They had overcome the challenges of integrating a new civilization, resolved a diplomatic crisis with the Zorans, and were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough with the energy-generating organisms on Nova Prime. The scientific team on Nova Prime was making rapid progress. They had managed to understand the basic biology of the energy-generating organisms and were now working on developing a harvesting system. The Alliance was also planning to share their findings with other civilizations in the galaxy, in line with their commitment to promoting peace and cooperation. Ben, looking at the unity and progress of the Alliance, knew that there would still be challenges ahead. But he was confident that as long as they remained united, they could face any obstacle. Our Alliance is like a growing family in the galaxy. With each new member and each new discovery, we become stronger and more capable of creating a better future for all. The Alliance continued to expand its influence in the galaxy, not through force but through cooperation and knowledge sharing. The story of their unity and progress was spreading far and wide, inspiring other civilizations to consider joining the Alliance or at least adopting a more collaborative approach to galactic development. And as the stars twinkled above Unity Nexus, the Alliance members were excited to see what new adventures and discoveries awaited them in the vast expanse of the universe. Chapter 16: The Promise of Nova Prime and Galactic Ramifications. The Alliance's efforts on Nova Prime were reaching a crucial juncture. The scientific team, a diverse group of experts from all member civilizations, had been working tirelessly to develop a sustainable method of harnessing the energy from the unique organisms. Their research had delved deep into the biology and energy generation mechanisms of these extraordinary life forms. A group of Luminan scientists, with their unique spiritual energy insights, had discovered that the organisms on Nova Prime seemed to respond to a form of harmonic resonance. They hypothesized that by creating a specific energy frequency, they could enhance the energy generation process of the organisms without causing harm to them. Meanwhile, the Creelans, with their genetic expertise, were working on developing a symbiotic relationship between the energy-generating organisms and certain engineered bacteria. The idea was to use the bacteria to help the organisms thrive and produce energy more efficiently, while also ensuring that the ecosystem of Nova Prime remained balanced. The Norgons, true to their technological prowess, were designing the harvesting infrastructure. They were creating a network of energy collection devices that could safely and effectively capture the energy released by the organisms. These devices were designed to be minimally invasive, with the focus on causing as little disruption to the planet's ecosystem as possible. As the research progressed, news of the Alliance's activities on Nova Prime spread throughout the galaxy. Other civilizations, intrigued by the potential of this new energy source, began to approach the Alliance. Some expressed a desire to collaborate, while others were more interested in simply obtaining the technology once it was developed. The Alliance Council, led by Ben, had to carefully consider these requests. They knew that sharing the technology could bring many benefits, such as strengthening diplomatic relations and promoting a more peaceful and prosperous galaxy. However, they also had to ensure that the technology was used responsibly. A small, peaceful civilization known as the Sylphs sent a delegation to Unity Nexus. The Sylphs were a race of air-dwelling beings, with delicate, wing-like appendages and a deep connection to the elemental forces of their planet. The Sylph leader, Arya, addressed the Alliance Council. "We have heard of your work on Nova Prime, and we are in awe. Our civilization has long studied the balance of elements, and we believe that our knowledge could contribute to your efforts. In return, we hope to be part of the technological and cultural exchange that your alliance offers." The Alliance Council was intrigued by the Sylphs' offer. They invited the Sylphs to present their knowledge. Arya and her team showed how they could manipulate air currents and elemental energy to create a stable environment. This knowledge could potentially be used to enhance the energy collection process on Nova Prime, as well as to improve the environmental control systems on Unity Nexus. After much discussion, the Alliance decided to welcome the Sylphs as new members. The Sylphs were excited to join the Alliance and immediately began to integrate into the various projects. They shared their knowledge with the scientific team on Nova Prime, and in return, they started to learn about the other civilizations' technologies, such as the Norgons' energy manipulation and the Creelans' genetic engineering. However, not all civilizations approached the Alliance with peaceful intentions. A group of mercenary-like aliens, the Reapers, had been observing the Alliance's activities. The Reapers were a ruthless race, driven by profit and power. They saw the energy-generating organisms on Nova Prime as a valuable commodity that they could exploit. The Reapers launched a surprise attack on the scientific outpost on Nova Prime. Their ships, equipped with powerful weapons, fired a barrage of energy blasts at the outpost. The Alliance's defense systems, which had been designed mainly to protect against natural threats and small-scale pirate attacks, were caught off guard. The scientists on the outpost, including members from all the Alliance civilizations, were in immediate danger. They quickly activated the emergency defense protocols and sent distress signals to Unity Nexus. Back at Unity Nexus, the Alliance Council was in a state of high alert. Ben, his face grim, addressed the council. "We need to act fast. The Reaper's attack on our outpost on Nova Prime is not only a threat to our scientists but also a violation of the peace and cooperation we've been trying to establish in the galaxy." The Vorgans, with their military expertise, were the first to respond. Commander Grath stood up. "We can assemble a fleet of our most advanced warships and launch a counter-attack. We need to show the Reapers that they can't just attack us with impunity." The Norgons, however, proposed a more strategic approach. Zor said, "We should first assess the Reapers' capabilities. We can send a scouting mission to gather intelligence on their ships, weapons, and tactics. This way, we can plan a more effective counter-offensive." The Council agreed to the Norgon proposal. A scouting mission, consisting of Norgon and Scythian ships, was dispatched to the area around Nova Prime. The ships, equipped with advanced stealth technology, approached the Reaper fleet undetected. The scouting team observed the Reaper's ships. They noticed that the Reapers had a unique energy shielding system that was highly effective against conventional energy-based weapons. However, they also discovered a potential weakness in the Reaper's communication network. The scouting team returned to Unity Nexus with the valuable intelligence. The Alliance's scientists and military strategists immediately started to develop a plan to exploit the Reaper's weakness. The Creelans, using their genetic technology, developed a bio-weapon in the form of a virus. This virus was designed to infiltrate the Reaper's communication systems and disrupt their coordination. The Vorgans, meanwhile, were modifying their weapons to bypass the Reaper's energy shields. Once the preparations were complete, the Alliance launched its counter-offensive. A large fleet of ships, consisting of Vorgan warships, Norgon support vessels, and Scythian attack craft, set out for Nova Prime. As the Alliance fleet approached, the Reapers detected their presence. They prepared for battle, confident in their superior firepower and energy shields. The battle began with the Alliance fleet launching a coordinated attack. The Vorgan ships fired a series of modified energy blasts at the Reaper ships. At the same time, the Creelans launched the bio-weapon, which quickly infiltrated the Reaper's communication systems. The Reapers, suddenly facing communication breakdowns, were unable to coordinate their defenses effectively. The Alliance's attacks started to take their toll. Many of the Reaper ships were severely damaged, and some were forced to retreat. The remaining Reaper ships, realizing that they were outmatched, sent a message of surrender. The Alliance, however, was cautious. They demanded that the Reapers leave the area around Nova Prime and sign a treaty promising not to attack the Alliance or its interests in the future. The Reapers, with no other option, agreed to the terms. The Alliance had successfully defended its outpost on Nova Prime and sent a strong message to other potential aggressors in the galaxy. With the immediate threat from the Reapers eliminated, the Alliance could focus once again on the research and development of the energy-generating organisms. The Sylphs, who had joined the Alliance just before the attack, were impressed by the unity and resilience of the other members. Arya, the Sylph leader, said to Ben, "Your Alliance's response to the Reaper attack was remarkable. It shows the strength that comes from unity. We are proud to be a part of this." The scientific team on Nova Prime resumed their work with renewed enthusiasm. They were now closer than ever to developing a working prototype of the energy harvesting system. The Alliance Council also started to plan for the future of the energy technology. They discussed how to share it with other civilizations in a way that would promote the overall development of the galaxy. They decided to hold a galactic summit on Unity Nexus, inviting representatives from as many civilizations as possible. The summit would not only showcase the Alliance's work on Nova Prime but also present a framework for the responsible use of the new energy technology. The Alliance hoped that through this summit, they could establish a set of galactic guidelines for energy development and cooperation. As the preparations for the summit were underway, the Alliance continued to face smaller challenges on Unity Nexus. The increased number of members and activities had put a strain on the station's resources and infrastructure. The Earth Norgone team, which had been working on the resource management issue, proposed a new solution. They suggested the construction of a series of resource recycling plants on Unity Nexus. These plants would use a combination of Norgone energy-based technologies and Earth-inspired industrial processes to recycle and reuse various materials, reducing the Alliance's dependence on external resources. The Alliance Council approved the proposal, and construction of the recycling plants began. The Creelans and Luminans also contributed their knowledge, with the Creelans developing genetic-based catalysts to speed up the recycling process and the Luminans providing spiritual, energy-based insights to enhance the efficiency of the plants. The cultural exchange on Unity Nexus also continued to thrive. The presence of the Sylphs added a new dimension to the cultural diversity. The Sylphs' unique air-based art forms, such as creating intricate patterns in the air using elemental energy, were on display in the Cultural Exchange Center. Ben, looking at the ever-evolving Alliance, was filled with a sense of pride and responsibility. We've come a long way, but there's still so much to do. The Galactic Summit is a crucial step in our journey to share our knowledge and promote peace and cooperation in the galaxy. And as we continue to grow, we need to ensure that we maintain the unity and balance that has been the foundation of our success. The Alliance members, united in their vision, continued to work towards the upcoming summit and the development of the energy technology. They knew that the decisions they made in the coming days would have far-reaching consequences for the future of the galaxy. And as they looked out at the vast expanse of stars, they were determined to use their knowledge and unity to create a better, more harmonious universe. Epilogue: a galactic utopia in the making. The day of the Galactic Summit on Unity Nexus finally arrived. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered in the Grand Hall of the space station, a place that now symbolized unity and cooperation. The hall was a magnificent sight, with holographic displays of the Alliance's achievements, cultural artworks from all member civilizations, and a large, circular table at the center where the delegates would discuss the future of the galaxy. Ben, as the de facto leader of the Alliance, stood at the podium to welcome the guests. Honorable representatives of the galaxy, he began, his voice echoing through the hall. We are gathered here today at a crossroads. The discoveries and developments of our alliance have opened up new possibilities for the entire galaxy, and it is our responsibility to ensure that these opportunities are used for the greater good. The hall was filled with a diverse array of species. From the small, winged sylphs to the imposing Zorans, each civilization brought its unique perspective and interests. The Aquarics, still adapting to their new role in the Alliance, were present in their specially designed water-filled pods, ready to contribute their hydro-technological knowledge. The Norgons, known for their scientific prowess, started the presentation. Zor stepped forward and activated a holographic model of Nova Prime. As you all know, our research on Nova Prime has led to the discovery of these remarkable energy-generating organisms. We have developed a prototype of an energy harvesting system that is both efficient and sustainable. The hologram showed the detailed design of the harvesting infrastructure, the symbiotic relationship between the organisms and the engineered bacteria, and the harmonic resonance-based enhancement process. The delegates watched in awe, realizing the potential of this technology to transform the energy landscape of the galaxy. After the Norgon presentation, the Creelans took the stage. Cree, the lead Creelan scientist, shared their insights on the genetic engineering aspects. Our genetic technology has been crucial in ensuring the long-term viability of the energy-generating organisms. We have also developed methods to adapt this technology to other biological systems, which could have far-reaching implications for agriculture, medicine, and environmental restoration across the galaxy. The representatives from different civilizations began to engage in lively discussions. Some were concerned about the potential ecological impact of large-scale energy harvesting on Nova Prime. A small, plant-based civilization called the Florens expressed their worries. The Luminan representative, Ilera, addressed these concerns. We have been working closely with the scientific team on Nova Prime to ensure that the ecosystem remains intact. Our spiritual energy insights have helped us understand the delicate balance of the planet, and we have incorporated measures to minimize any negative impacts. As the discussions continued, the Alliance proposed a framework for the sharing of the energy technology. We suggest the creation of a galactic energy consortium, Ben said. This consortium will be made up of representatives from all interested civilizations. Its purpose will be to oversee the development, distribution, and responsible use of the Nova Prime energy technology. The idea was met with mixed reactions. Some civilizations were eager to join, seeing the potential for economic growth and technological advancement. Others were more cautious, worried about losing their sovereignty or being exploited. The Vorgons, with their military and engineering background, offered to provide security for the energy harvesting operations on Nova Prime and any future facilities. We can ensure that the technology is protected from those who might seek to misuse it, Commander Grath announced. The diplomatic negotiations continued throughout the day. By the end of the summit, a consensus was reached. The Galactic Energy Consortium was established, with representatives from over 24 civilizations, including the Alliance members. The consortium's first task was to develop a set of guidelines for the use of the Nova Prime energy technology. These guidelines would cover aspects such as environmental protection, equitable distribution of energy resources, and the sharing of technological knowledge. With the establishment of the consortium, the Alliance's influence in the galaxy reached new heights. The cultural exchange that had been thriving on Unity Nexus now spread across the galaxy. Artists, musicians, and scholars from different civilizations started to collaborate, creating a rich tapestry of intergalactic culture. The educational platform that had been developed by the Alliance was expanded to include more civilizations. Students from across the galaxy could now access a vast repository of knowledge, learning about different cultures, sciences, and technologies. Back on Nova Prime, the energy harvesting operations began on a small scale, under the watchful eye of the Galactic Energy Consortium. The initial results were promising. The energy generated was not only clean but also more efficient than many existing energy sources. The Alliance, having achieved so much, did not rest on its laurels. They continued to explore new scientific frontiers. The scientific team on Nova Prime, now joined by researchers from other member civilizations of the consortium, started to study the potential of the energy, generating organisms for other applications, such as interstellar travel. The Scythians, who had once been a war-like race, were now fully integrated into the peaceful and collaborative environment of the Alliance. Their warrior spirit had been channeled into protecting the Alliance's interests and promoting peace in the galaxy. Draz, the Scythian leader, was now a respected figure in the Galactic Energy Consortium, using his leadership skills to ensure that the consortium's goals were met. The cultural exchange also led to some unexpected developments. Earth music, with its diverse range of genres, became popular among many civilizations. The Norgons, inspired by Earth's musical creativity, developed new forms of energy-based music that combined their technological know-how with the emotional depth of Earth music. The Aquarics, in turn, shared their knowledge of underwater architecture, which influenced the design of new habitats on various planets. Their unique approach to using water as a building material and a source of energy was studied and adapted by other civilizations. As time passed, the galaxy started to transform. The once isolated civilizations were now connected through a network of cooperation, trade, and cultural exchange. The threat of war and conflict diminished as civilizations realized the benefits of working together. The Alliance, now a cornerstone of this new galactic order, continued to face challenges. There were still some rogue elements in the galaxy that resisted the new order, but the combined strength of the Alliance and the Galactic Energy Consortium was enough to keep them in check. One such challenge came from a group of cyber pirates. These pirates were a mix of different species who had banded together to steal the Alliance's technological secrets. They targeted the research facilities on Unity Nexus, trying to gain access to the data on the Nova Prime energy technology. The Alliance's security forces, along with the assistance of the Vorgans and some Scythian warriors, launched a counter-operation. Using advanced surveillance and anti-hacking technology developed by the Norgons, they were able to track down the cyber pirates. The operation was a success, and the cyber pirates were apprehended. This incident, however, highlighted the need for even stronger security measures in the face of new threats. The Alliance, in response, invested more resources in developing advanced security technologies. The Creelans, for example, were working on a genetic-based security system that could identify and neutralize threats at a molecular level. As the years went by, the galaxy became a more harmonious place. The energy from Nova Prime was powering entire planets, improving the living standards of countless beings. The cultural exchange had led to a greater understanding and appreciation of each other's differences, breaking down the barriers that had once separated civilizations. Ben, looking back on the journey that had started with a chance encounter with the Qurans, was filled with a deep sense of fulfillment. We started with a small group of civilizations coming together, and now we've become a force for good in the galaxy. The unity and cooperation that we've built are the keys to our success, and I believe that as long as we continue to work together, the future of the galaxy is bright. The Alliance's story had become an inspiration for generations to come. It was a story of how different species, despite their differences, could put aside their differences, collaborate, and create a better universe. The once far-fetched dream of a galactic utopia was now slowly becoming a reality, and the Alliance was at the forefront of this remarkable transformation. The final chapter of this saga was yet to be written, but with the foundation of unity, cooperation, and knowledge sharing firmly in place, the galaxy was on a path towards an exciting future filled with endless possibilities for exploration, discovery, and the betterment of all living beings. And as the stars continued to shine brightly in the vast expanse of the universe, the Alliance members looked forward to what the future held, ready to face any challenges and embrace the opportunities that would come their way.